Hi, I'm Kristie Clayton, founder and visionary of HERverse. HER is an acronym for Helping Executives Rise. Welcome to ConvHERsations with Kristie, where we dive into real, raw, and inspiring conversations with incredible leaders. You see, at HERverse, we're not just a community, we're a movement, a space where women leaders rise together, support one another, and celebrate our collective success. Whether you're leading as a second in command, steering the vision as the visionary or founder, or driving impact with your company as a leadership team member, HERverse was designed for you. Our mission is to provide resources, coaching, and peer support that you need to grow confidently in your leadership journey. Through memberships like Female Executive Mastermind and the Lead Her community, along with events like workshops and summits, and even personalized coaching, we are here to help women embrace their strengths, overcome challenges, and truly thrive. And that's what ConvHERsations with Kristie is about too. It's a space to share the golden nuggets of wisdom that come from authentic, heartfelt, real conversations. There's no scripts, there's no fluff, just honest insights from leaders who are leading boldly and making an impact. See, I believe leadership isn't something you do alone. It's a journey we navigate, and we don't have to do that alone. We can do it together, because together we rise. Now, let's get started with today's conversation. I am confident you are going to love it. Hey, Karyl, welcome to this week's Conversations with Kristie. I'm super excited to have a discussion with you today. And Karyl, I'd love to start by just having you introduce yourself.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for having me, Kristie. I appreciate it. And I know that you have such a dynamic group of people that you work with, so I'm excited to be here. So, okay, as an introduction, my job is literally to make you stand out. And what I mean by that is I am a visibility architect, if you will, and a personal brand strategist. We work with client-facing leaders that are in consulting or in a sales genre, and a lot of people in the franchise community as well. And what we find is that regardless of how you have put together your personal brand, if you are not visible, meaning you're not standing out in person and you're not standing out online with pictures and video and being on webinars, that type of thing, and in podcasts, people don't know who you are, and you become just this best kept secret, which really is not a business strategy that works very well.
I don't know very many businesses that do well in secret.
Yeah, that's exactly right. But yet, you would be surprised at how many people are uncomfortable being front and center, which I understand. I mean, I know I was there at one point too, but I also know what happens when you put yourself out there and the change in the dynamic and the bottom line that happens when you are able to do that for yourself.
Yeah. That's very true. Well, and if you'll remember, that's why you and I were introduced. I was really looking to broaden my brand, and we had some amazing discussions around personal brand and how to bring that to life. And I'm really curious though, Karyl, like, how did you become so passionate about personal branding and now visibility? Where did all this come from?
Interestingly enough, when I really look back, it's how I grew up. So my mom was a teacher, and then she went into real estate, and she was in a community where it was who you knew, not what you knew. And she had to put herself out in a way that was uncomfortable for her at first, but she did it in such a way that made her feel good. So what she did was she developed a personal brand, which that word didn't even exist at that time, but she developed a personal brand based on the fact that her background was in teaching. So instead of a salesperson, she was an educator of real estate. And and the things that she did, for instance, again, now we're talking over 40 years ago at this point. Postcards, weekly postcards, checking in, doing, just staying in front of people when, again, it just was not happening at that time. And then the other part of it was that she was very clear on that you put your best foot forward. Make sure that you make people want to say yes so that you have the ability to say no and it's your choice, not because you didn't make the grade or you didn't earn it, but because you don't want to do something, right? So always put your best foot forward. And funny story, one time I came into her office, and it was back in the day when girls would wear men's boxer shorts as shorts. And I
Oh,
went prancing into her office, and she was so upset with me because she said, Karyl, when you come in here, you're representing me and this
mm,
company, not just yourself. And so if you're going to dress that way, you'll park in the alley, you'll come in the back door, you'll come in my office, and you'll leave. But it was, it was a little harsh at the time, but I learned a lot from that. And I learned the fact that you don't have to be the best at what you do. You don't have to have all the education in what you do, but you do need to stand out, and you need to figure out how you do things differently
different.
and how that sets you apart, meaning that you get to use all your background and all your education or lack of education or on job education or whatever that is. But you get to put that in a way that makes you more valuable to the people who need you specifically. And I thought that that was just so amazing that she did that. I watched it. And then, fast forward all these years, when I went back into the working world after staying home with kids, I had to reinvent myself.
Mm,
I had to dig deep into who I used to be, what made me really happy, and then formulate a plan to get back into the world without getting back into corporate, because I didn't
oh,
want to go into corporate, right? So I thought, okay, if I'm going to do my own thing, I'm going to have to figure out how to stand out. So I originally went back into image consulting, and then by building my own business, studied and became very good at the personal branding part of things. And then the visibility piece of it was what set me apart from my competition and allowed me to not have some competition because of how I built my business with using that component.
that is so amazing. I love that you said there's so many things about what you just said that I want to dive into. But one question I want to ask you, kind of early on, is a lot of my audience or the people that I work with are women that are sitting in that integrator role or chief
Yeah.
operating officer, chief of staff. Friend, this is probably the one role that we have more titles than I can even begin to describe. We use a plethora of titles in this role. But one of the things is, oftentimes what I hear is, the visionary, the business owner, they're the face. So they're the ones that need to have the brand. But you kind of just touched on how when you're related to the business, you have a brand that you bring and how you do carry that brand. So
Yeah.
how important is it that everyone in the organization is upholding the brand, the business brand with their own personal brand?
Yeah, that's such a great question, Kristie. And what's really interesting is that when we hire people because of some unique quality that they have, right? And then what happens often is they get in there and we're like, well, we don't like this about you because you don't match the brand. Well, what if we didn't match the brand? What if we complemented the brand, right? So
Oh,
yes, you're upholding it, right? And that's important. That is important, especially if you're a business owner. You need the people that work for you to uphold what you have built. But we don't need everybody to be cookie cutter. We don't need everybody to be the same. That's just plain old boring, right? And if you look back at history and where things, changed and where big steps were made, it was because people were different, not because we were all the same.
exactly.
So yeah, so I think that falls on leadership to make sure that they're empowering the people, down the line, right, in all positions to be able to have that. And then it's also the employees' responsibility to understand what the brand of the company is and make sure that they are complementing it, not being a distraction to it. So there are two different things at play there. Uh, you know, being and this is the other thing too, sometimes the founder wants to step out of being the face of the brand, right? They get to a point where they want to step away, and somebody else is probably going to have to do that. And
Mm,
sometimes it does fall on that next person chain of command. And wouldn't it be better to understand what you really bring to the table before you are forced into that?
Yeah.
Right. So being able to have a very good, clear message on the power that you hold so that when it's really needed, it's already in place, because that's what
Mhm.
happens a lot of times, is that people are behind the 8 ball. Oh, well, I want to do this. Well, then you should have started working on that beforehand. You can't snap your fingers and make things happen or make people think of you in a certain way. You've got to ramp up to that. You've got to lay some groundwork. Yeah.
Exactly. Well,
Yeah.
and one of the things that came to mind as you were talking is this is definitely, and you kind of mentioned it too, is when we're hiring people, we're looking for that brand, right? Who are they? What do they bring to the table?
Yeah.
And I know people were always amazed when they would hear me, or at least earlier, in my career, when they would hear me say, I went to your Facebook and I looked to see, what you're posting. I went to LinkedIn and I looked at social media, right? I want to see who I'm getting because that's so
Yes.
important. I want a person to come on board that does match the brand and is not contradictory to what we're trying to do.
Yeah.
Um, and
Well,
and
and
sometimes,
yeah, and so we're being vetted on all playing fields, right? So we're being vetted as an employee, we're being vetted as potentially a problem solver for a company. We are
mm,
being vetted, and if somebody goes now, and especially we're in 2025, people, if they go online and they can't find anything about you, that's problematic, because either A, they're going to make up their own story, or B, they're just going straight to your competition.
mm,
The other problem is if they find something and it's inconsistent, and this is my favorite thing, is the consistency part. If they find something that's inconsistent, so you show up on one platform one way, you show up on another platform a different way, you walk into a room, you don't look anything like your headshot, or you show up on camera and you're very proper and you've got these clothes on that you don't even own because you went to a studio and they just put you in clothes and did hair and makeup, and nothing looks real once you walk into the room. That is a problem. That's a big problem. And so you're trying to lay the foundation of confidence and credibility. And when there's no consistency, that's when people are like, yeah, I got you. I got your story. You really don't care. You're really not who you are. This is all fake. This is a facade.
yes,
Again, I'm going to your competitor. And
exactly.
that's rough. That is so rough.
Well, and it lends to why we just need to be authentically and truly ourselves, right? Because
Yes.
I mean, I will tell you, like I've had people say it to me all the time, like what you see is what you get. Like I am genuinely myself. But here's what I have found, Karyl, is that when I show up genuinely as myself, then I
Mhm.
attract the people who want to be either
Yeah.
in business or in relationship with
Mhm.
me. But if I go in wearing something or looking some way that it's not me, and it's truly like a facade that I'm putting on because I feel like this is the person who needs to show up,
Right.
and I'm not creating genuine relationships,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And honestly, if that's the person you're looking for and it's not who I am, then we're not a right fit. And
Mhm.
that's okay because
Yeah.
that's when you do want to drive them to someone that will be a right fit for them. Because I want that other person driving the wrong person for them to me because I
Right.
might be the right person for them.
Exactly. And what's interesting, and in the client work that we do, is that being authentic is not the same as a license to be sloppy or to be careless. And that's where sometimes people fall off the road, right? Is that they think that, oh, this just me, and this, we really saw this happen when COVID came, right? Oh, that means I can just show up like I rolled out of bed. Well, you can't. I mean, you can do whatever you want to do, right? But you have to be aware of what's going to happen, right? So first impressions are a big deal, and how we make people feel is a big deal. The other day, I kid you not, somebody DM me, and he is a CPA, and I clicked on the picture, and I kid you not, and I even showed this to my 24-year-old, and I said, "What do you think of this person?" He said, "Well, he looks like what he's like. He looks like he's a delivery driver."
Oh,
And he's a CPA. And if I look at your headshot and I see delivery driver, I see somebody that doesn't look very detail oriented, that will affect the way that I move forward or don't move forward with you, right? So there are some expectations. And that's what I love about what we get to do, because we get to talk to and kind of build this puzzle with clients about, okay, how do you want to be perceived? What are you willing to do, not willing to do? How do others perceive you now? And how can we build that out so you do feel super authentic every time you walk out the door, every time you appear in pictures, every time you're in video? How do you feel exactly like you, the best version of you? And that I think is the crux of it, right? I mean, you can be authentic and sloppy, or you can be authentic and be the best version of you. And that's where we get to really have some fun with clients, because we get to just make sometimes just little tiny tweaks. The other thing that we find out sometimes is that the client that you're going for, right, and you're not willing to move the needle, just isn't your client. You're never going to attract them. And that's, like you said, that's okay. Not a problem. Not a problem. Send them over to whoever else is, and that makes more room for the people that are supposed to be with you.
Exactly. And that's such an important piece to me, because, I work with a lot of fractional clients, like people who are sitting in that fractional integrator role or fractional COO or CMO. Like, the fractional world is really blowing up, right? And it's beautiful to watch. But it is something that I'm seeing with them. They want to attract everybody. And I'm like, whoa, wait, my friend. And somebody said something to me one time that has absolutely stuck with me. She said, Kristie, you do not like every single person in this world. Why do you expect every single person to like you?
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
really
And you
great
know
way
what?
to
Your head blows up. Your head blows up when you try and be everything to everybody. I know for a fact, because I tried to do it when I first started. I just wanted everybody to be happy. I want to do everything for everybody, and that's fine. And all of a sudden, I had no boundaries. I was doing things I didn't want to do for people I did not, at the core of it, want to work with. And sometimes you have to go through those bumps, right? So you can figure it out. But my God, your head hurts.
I'm exhausted, right? Like, we talk about this a lot, whether something is an energy boost. Like, I feel like I just shot like 12 cans of Red Bull straight into my veins. And I'm like, yes, I get to work with this person. I get to do all these things. And it's so exciting. Or is the person an energy vampire where it's like, oh, like I'm literally drained, even just spending 10 minutes with that person, right?
Yes.
And it took me a while to really understand. So I know lots of people, they're still figuring that out, and that's okay. But just keep refining it, right? Keep making it better each time.
Yeah. And you just hit the nail on the head. You do have to keep refining it, because your brand does change. Absolutely. Your image changes. It's what do I want to say? It's not a bumpy road. It's a curvy road. That's better. It's a curvy road, right? Depending on what your overall goal is and what things are happening in your life, you will make some adjustments, and that's okay. That's okay. I mean, I literally just rewrote my website the other day, because I thought, you know what, things have changed a little bit, and I don't think this completely reflects what we do for clients. I think I know what we do for clients, but I don't think I've written it out in a way that they really get it. I mean, I think they got it. I want to be clear about that too, right? So I think we did a good job of being clear about what we do, but I don't think that we were clear in how encompassing we are with how we do it, right? With the real framework and the real outcomes of what happens. And again, you gotta be flexible to be able to revisit that. Like you said, revisit it and realign yourself. It doesn't mean you're switching everything, and it doesn't mean that you're tossing your brand and your image away. It just means that you're refining.
Refining and evolving, right? I mean, let's be real. When I started my business 8 years ago, things have happened, and I have new knowledge and I have new experiences that have happened in that 8-year time frame that has gotten us to where we are today. And I sure hope that 8 years from now, we're not exactly the way that we are today. I'm going to have a lot more experiences in between then, right?
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I think, that's such the fun of being a business owner is that you get the autonomy to do that. You get the ability to do that. Now, at the same time, if we didn't have those people that are helping us on that operations end, those second in commands, or the people that are, the proverbial balloon holder, uh, we would be in a great deal of trouble. We would be up here floating around with all our ideas, but they're never being implemented because, we need that check and balance too.
That
Yeah.
is so, so true. And I could not agree with you more because my integrator definitely keeps me very aligned on what does that match what we're doing, right? But it is
Right.
something that you talked about earlier. It's the consistency, right? So
Mhm.
branding for personal branding and business branding, there is absolute consistency that has to happen.
Right.
Otherwise, it's a confusing message. And if I'm
Mhm.
being open and honest and just slightly vulnerable here, it's a mistake that we made for a brief moment where when we evolved from female integrator mastermind or fem to herverse, our
Mhm.
branding wasn't clear and people were like, I don't even know what you do anymore.
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, simple messages, but also
Mhm.
consistent messages are so important.
Yeah. And, I think you and I talked about this before we jumped on, but, when you're inside the glass, it's hard to read the label, right? Meaning that sometimes it's hard to see what's really happening in your own um, atmosphere because you're so used to it, right? And like I said earlier, I know what we did, but if I'm not super clear with other people, how are they going to know? One story that I want to share is, years ago, so part of the process that we do with our clients and part of our framework is that we'll do modified 360 interviews. And one of the clients that I had it was a consultant, but she had now gone into podcasting, and all of her content was about the podcast and really showcasing the people that were on her podcast. She did a beautiful job, high quality, beautiful job. But when I did the 360s and I was talking to people, I heard from multiple people, oh, she's a podcast host now. She's no longer consulting, right? Here's the problem. The podcast was for fun. It was not a moneymaker. It was for fun and for her to be able to get to know some of the people that she wanted to get to know, right? And to give some, spotlight to them, doing a great thing. But the way she earned her money was through consulting. And she was alienating people, not alienating them on purpose, but the perception was that she wasn't a consultant anymore. So when they needed a consultant of her style and quality, they didn't even think of her anymore.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So again, because the consistency of her message changed in such a way that it was no longer really representing what she did, she had a problem. She had a very big problem. And so things had to even out a bit, and she had to be more consistent and intentional about promoting herself as both entities, right? So
Yeah.
yeah, yeah, it
Yeah.
was very, very interesting. You can learn a lot through those 360s.
Oh yeah, definitely. It's amazing what feedback you will get. And like with anything, everything, you have to use a filter through it. But
Mhm,
um it's really amazing what you can get when people, share feedback. And that's true of like what you're talking about with customers or perspectives, but
mhm.
also it's just within the business too, right? Getting
Yeah,
feedback, providing feedback and receiving feedback from your team members can be
mhm.
just as critical for a leader.
Yeah, yeah. Another interesting story and one where I went, "Oh, wow." So I'm in my home office right now, but I have a beautiful, beautiful 600 square foot studio that we use for coaching and consulting and video and photography work. And it is one of the things that really sets my business apart. But it is something that I take for granted because I just go there every day. And so I really wasn't promoting it the way that I should. It
Mm.
just felt like something that was easy for me, But really, when we look back and we did some research into things that testimonials and things that people have said about that space, I learned a lot. But what happened was that we were at a team meeting and my team said to me, Karyl, what are you doing? Why are you not promoting this place? Why doesn't it have its own Instagram page? Why? And they really called me on the table, which I so appreciated because I just didn't see it. To me, it was just a fun place that I designed that I love to go to. And I was so happy because I built it for clients and they get to share it with me too. But I didn't realize how special it was and how much more it could be because I was inside that jar.
That is so, I love that, because that really truly is, it is so powerful when our teams can authentically, genuinely come to us with these conversations, right? And so as leaders, as business owners, we really like creating a culture where people can provide that type of feedback and that those type of conversations with us. Listen, we have their best interest at heart, but they have ours too. And so we need to be listening to them just as much as, they listen to us.
Yeah, absolutely. And, if you build a team that's strong like that, that is exactly what you get. That's exactly what you get is people that are not afraid to say what needs to be said because you can't see it or didn't think of it. And that's okay.
Yeah. I'm the one that has the big vision, but it doesn't mean that I have every single detail. Right.
Exactly. Yeah, here's a vision. Go make it work. But Karyl, I don't know. I don't know how it's going to get done. I didn't think that far ahead. No.
Exactly.
Listen,
I am so glad that you and I got to have this conversation because personal branding, business branding, visibility, like it's all so important. And so thank you for sharing wisdoms of little nuggets of wisdom here and stories to really make it relatable. Karyl, I appreciate you so much.
Well, thank you for having me. It's been fun to chat with you. And this is a topic I'm really passionate about because I know how much it works. And I know that without me stepping into being uncomfortable at first, my business would not be where it is. I wouldn't have that studio because I wouldn't be able to afford it. Right. So it might be uncomfortable to put yourself out as the face of your business or even just to build that foundation so that when people vet you, there's something to find that might not feel comfortable for you. But I don't want to guarantee anything, but I will tell you that once you do it, you are seen differently because you get to control the message. And how great is that, right? So, go ahead and do it. Do yourself a favor and do your business a favor and get comfortable with being uncomfortable and being out there.
Oh, I love that. I love that. What a beautiful way for us to transition into, I love to end conversations with 3 rapid fire questions. So my first question to you is, when you think about honor, empower, and inspire, when I think of honor, I really think about women of a past generation that I really truly want to honor. So I'm curious, Karyl, who do you want to honor?
Oh, well, that's an easy one because Mother's Day was just here. And my mom, she was absolutely my first mentor. She really showed my sister and I how to move through life with grace and humor and a fortitude that, don't tell us we can't because now it's game on. And I really appreciate that. Every day I have a conversation with her somehow about something, and she passed away in 2019, right? So she's still dripping just nuggets down, and she just set such a beautiful example, like I said, of how to move through life with grace and laughter and positivity.
Oh, I love that. Oh, I love that honor. That's beautiful.
Thank you.
Women of today's generation, that's what empower means to me. So when you think of a woman in today's generation that is either a business owner or in leadership, who is someone that empowers you to be your absolute best self or that you hope to empower to be her best?
Okay, so this one is easy too. This is Liz J. Simpson, and she has been my coach, my personal coach, Oh, 4+ years. And she is, oh my gosh, you guys look her up. Liz J. Simpson. She might just be the smartest person I know. She just, and the most down to earth. She's just so incredible. And she challenges me in ways where I don't want to be challenged. But that's her job, right? Her job is not to be a yes person, just like my job is not to be a yes person to my clients. And I so appreciate that of her. She will call me on the carpet. She will give phenomenal suggestions. She thinks, talk about rapid fire. Her brain works on rapid fire. She is just so incredibly talented and smart. And I'm really thankful I found her.
Oh, I
And
love
that's the power of LinkedIn, by the way, people, is that
Mm,
you can connect with people that maybe would never have crossed your path.
yeah.
Yeah.
LinkedIn is one of my favorite places to connect with
Yeah.
people. I love it. Um,
Yes.
and then the last one is inspire. Who is a woman
Yeah.
of a future generation that you hope to inspire?
Oh gosh. I mean, I hope that I inspire my team to a certain degree. They're all women that have other things going on, but I hope that they look at what I have built with their help, and I hope that inspires them to take that to the next person too, right?
Mm.
Gosh, there's so many talented people out there, and I'm really lucky to be surrounded by 3 phenomenal women, Carrie, Michelle, and Shakira, and they're all 3 younger. So does that count?
Absolutely, it does. And one
But
of the
I want to give them a shout out because they're really talented at what they do. And what I love about my team is that we morph a lot, and sometimes we shift who's in charge of what because somebody might have more time or they might be more talented in this particular way. And I love that they're all open-minded enough to do that, because it's for the good of the company. And we have a motto, and our motto is, we are a no stress company. We don't do stress. Now, I mean, that's a pie in the sky, right? But really, it should not be where we're so anxious about what we do on a day-to-day basis. It just shouldn't be. So if we can all step in and help each other, and if I can be an inspiration in trying to lead that charge, then I'll take that all day long.
I love it. What a great inspiration that you are to them.
Thank you.
Listen, friend, like I said, I'm so excited we had this conversation. It was so, so much fun. I'm excited. There's so many things that are happening at Herverse and with Karyl. So please make sure you connect with her. She's incredible to have one-on-one conversations with, and I know you'll really, really enjoy it. Thanks again for coming to this week's Conversations, and we'll see you again next week.
Thanks again. Bye-bye.
Thank you so much for tuning into this episode of ConvHERsations with Kristie. I hope you're walking away with a few nuggets of inspiration, maybe a new perspective, or just a reminder that you're not alone in your leadership journey. If this episode resonated with you, share it with a friend, drop us a comment, or tag us with your favorite takeaway. And don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. Until next time, keep showing up, keep leading with heart, and keep building the kind of life and leadership that feels true to you. I'll see you in the next ConvHERsation.